Good morning and welcome to Church360 Ledger webinar, Setting Up Your Account. My name is Buffy Alvarez and I've been with Concordia Publishing for almost 19 years. I am an Associate Marketing Manager for Concordia Technology Solutions and Church Supplies. You'll see here on the screen is my contact information. Feel free to contact me anytime after the webinar. We're always here to help. Today, our webinar is going to cover a 25-minute presentation. We'll have 5 minutes for questions. If you have questions, though, feel free to ask throughout the webinar. There is a question box that you can put your questions in. If I run out of time, I will answer them after the webinar. And the webinar will be recorded today on our Concordia Technology Solutions YouTube page. It'll be posted later this afternoon. All right. In our training today, we're going to go over basic accounting principles, fund accounting, cash accounting. We'll also learn how to create books. We'll talk about the fiscal years, accounting types, assets, liabilities, income, and expenses. We'll also go over chart of accounts reports, and we'll do users and permissions. Each book is a separate accounting entity with its own assets, liabilities, income, and expense accounts, such as your church book, your school book, preschool book, and we'll go into details on that in the webinar. Any transfers between books should be considered a loan that is to be paid back. Cash accounting. Income is recorded and recognized when the money is received. Expenses are recorded and recognized when the money is spent. So let's go ahead here and let's get started. I'm going to take you to the Church360 login page. At the login screen, each person will have their own unique login credentials. We do not encourage sharing logins for tracking purposes. Let's go ahead and sign in. And today, let's start out with, let's go create a new book. And to create a new book, you'll go up to Settings, scroll down to Books, and then in the filter here, let's name our book High School. And you'll click Add a New One. I apologize. I forgot to click Add a New One. Here's where you'll name your book. And let's do the starting month. We'll do fiscal year. Let's go ahead and begin with January. You can choose any month to begin your fiscal year, and you can change your fiscal year later on if needed. And I'm going to make sure that the starting date starts on the 1st of the month of January. The difference between starting month and starting date is that the starting date of the book activity is when you want to first enter transaction. So like I said, I've selected January, so I want to start with my starting date on January 1st. And then you'll submit, and you'll get an error, or you'll get a message at the top saying the book was created. To access the book, you go to the top of the page, click the down arrow. You see the ledger icon? You'll click the down arrow, and now you'll see your new book. Let's go ahead and access. And now that we've created our new book, I would like to refer back to what I had mentioned earlier about changing your fiscal year. To do that, you'll go to Settings, the Settings tab. You'll go to Fiscal Year. And you'll see you'll need to change your fiscal year. So right now we currently have January through December. Let's go ahead and let's do April. Maybe I'll do March. And then click Save. And then you'll probably have to refresh your screen. And it should have showed up right here. We might have to clear our caches out if it does not update properly. Okay, so here you can see when I chose November as my second option, it changed from January through October. Now when it comes to 2018, you'll also see down here, it'll say November, well, it'll say November 2017 through December of 2018. And your budgets are determined by your fiscal year. Now, let's move along to account types. Here we'll want to go into your chart of accounts, and you'll see we have assets, liabilities, income, and expenses. In each of these account types, you'll have a new account and new category. Accounts will roll up into your categories. So let's go ahead and start with assets. This account will contain assets that support the congregation's missions. So let's say the church has 2 banks. And we'll go ahead and we'll enter each bank as a new category. So we'll say we have First Bank, then click Submit. Let's go ahead and enter our second bank. And submit. We'll also go back and you can actually, let's go ahead and submit that since there we go. All right. And I don't want my first bank checking under my second bank. So we'll need to drag and drop. So on the first bank, let's say we want to add our checking and savings. So we'll name this First Savings, and we'll do account number 123. And you can choose to write checks from this account. Let's go ahead and put in a 200 balance. Or you know what, let's just leave the balance 0 for right now. Maybe we should leave it at 200. All right, and now that we have, this is what I was saying, I got a little ahead of myself. With First Savings, I don't want it listed under my second bank. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to drag it. And you can also, you'll also be able to do the indentions, and that way it looks like it's under the first bank. And I apologize, I forgot to save my changes. So that is very important. Just one moment. All right. We'll do first checking. Like I said, you put any account number from the bank, so it ties it back. And then I also have a savings. So we'll do First Savings. And let's go ahead and move these up under our first bank. There we go. And you'll see where the indentions here. And sometimes you just have to give it a minute. All right, we'll do the same thing for our second bank. Let's go ahead and we'll add a checking and savings. And I do not want to write checks from here, but let's go ahead and let's put a balance in of 500. And then let's add our savings, our second savings. And I will, account numbers, still do not want to write checks from here, and let's go ahead and put 1,000 as a balance. And let's go ahead and do the indentions so it just organizes your accounts a little bit better. All right, and save changes. And it'll ask you to confirm that as well. And you'll see on the second bank where we had 500 in our checking and then 1,000 in our savings, it actually will keep the total. And it'll do the same for up here as well. In assets, you can add a restricted fund. A restricted fund is when money is given to the church for a designated fund. Let's go ahead and say we have a missions fund. We will submit, and you'll see right here it is show the missions fund. Go ahead and save your changes. And now we'll move on to liabilities. Liabilities are debts the congregation owes, such as a mortgage or payroll tax. And in the same process with assets, we will create a category, and our accounts will roll into our category. So let's go ahead and let's do one for taxes. Let's submit. And then let's say we have, we'll go with federal first. Federal income, tax. We could do and let's say state income. And let's say we have a city tax. And as the process we did above, we can take and move these over so it organizes the screen a little bit better, clears it up some for you. And then save your changes, and you'll get confirmation. You just confirm. All right, moving on to income. Income is going to be for churches. It generally consists of offerings. So let's go ahead and let's create a few new categories. We'll do a social fund. Let's do a book fund. And a building fund. And save your changes. And now we can add different accounts under each of the category. So under social fund, let's add the fall gathering. And we'll start off with $350. Go ahead and move it up to your social fund. And eventually the invention will happen, I promise. All right, let's go ahead and add a new account under the book fund, and we'll name this the Reading Club. And we'll do, let's go ahead and try to move this under the book fund and do the indentions for both social and book. I'm going to refresh my screen and see if that will help. And I apologize, I did not save my changes. All right. This is definitely something that I will be speaking with the manager about to see if there is a bug by chance that makes you numerous times attempt to undo the indention. All right, now that we've saved those changes, let's move along to expenses. Here, this account includes categories such as office supplies, salary, utilities, and the same as the previous accounts. You would do a new category. Let's go ahead and name this office supplies. I want to do a new category for books. And let's go ahead and do a third one, and we'll do a utility. Let's do gas. All right. And save changes. Under books, let's say that we have a textbook expense. And let's do, also under books, Reading Club. You can go ahead and save your changes, confirm. Same procedure as before, go ahead and do the indentation, and it seemed to work a lot better. So maybe we just need to go over to the far right with the indentions a little bit more. All right, so that covers our chart of accounts, assets, liabilities, income, and expenses. I also want to make you aware of the help system when working on the chart of accounts. If you search in the help system for basic terms, you'll find an article that explains the terms when setting up the chart of accounts. And here is where you'll find your help, and you just type in basic terms. And then you'll receive articles to help walk you through the process. All right, next on the agenda, we'll do chart of accounts reports. Move up to the notebook icon, select chart of accounts. You'll find all of your accounts are listed. And this report is expandable and collapsible. As you can see, I can collapse it or I can expand it. You'll also see the starting and ending balance, debit, credits, changes. If you have more than one fiscal year, you'll be able to view that by selecting on the year tab here, and you would be able to access that information. You can also export this report to Excel, and you have the option of printing as well. Now let's move on to users and permission. You'll go to the setting icon, and you'll go down to users. And let's go ahead and add a new one. I'm going to put in my email. And let's say my role will be let's say council members, and then submit. And you can also go back and you can add. You'll see the roles are reports, treasurer. You can delete users. This way they no longer have access to the book. So if you have anyone coming into the church and you assign them certain roles and they leave, you can always delete them by deleting right here, and it deletes the access to what they have. In Ledger, you can define the roles. You also have some predefined roles built in the help, and it'll help get you started, but you can customize and move as you need to go along. In order to get into the roles, go up to the settings, click on roles, and you'll see a listing. And some of these we have customized, and some of them have been preset. But you can also add a new role. And let's go ahead and do that here. All right. Okay, so go under management. I'm sorry, I apologize. Under can manage. And let's go ahead and let's do assistant. We'll do assistant admin. And this role applies. Let's just go ahead and apply it to the high school. And here you have the option of the management and transactions and what this person would be able. And you can choose what you need for this role. And then you do submit. And if you go back up to the settings and you go to users, let's go to my name, and you can always add that new role. And then you can resend the invitation, and that way they'll receive an email authorizing them access. One more thing I would like to show you is the event log. And you can see who is doing what in any of the books. So let's go up to our high school. I want to show what this screen looked like as well. So you would have your date, your type, your payee account, your memo account, and running balance. All right, go up to your notebook. Now let's go down to the event log. And this is where you can see who is doing what in any of the books. The event is good for tracking changes over time. And this can find it helpful, especially when you need to know when a process was last updated or a transaction was last updated. And that concludes our coverage for the webinar today. I also want to let you know that you can find updates at our Church360 Ledger blog at 360ledger.com/blog. And we also have the training manual available for $25, and you can access that at 360ledger.com/training. And once again, my name is Buffy Alvarez, and here is my contact information. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions to today's webinar. Thank you for attending.